Welcome to Blue Talks.
Good morning. You know, about 6 months ago, I received a call from a young woman who I've coached and really known for the last 15 or 16 years. And I could tell in her voice that she was concerned. There was a distraughtness in her voice. And as I spoke to her, I said, "Hey, tell me what's going on. What's happening with you?" And she says, "I'm just so afraid, John. I'm very afraid. In my company, they're laying off people. Just yesterday, they walked in and let go an entire department. Everyone here is afraid for their job. We are concerned because we don't have any answers and we don't know what to do. My husband works for this company, and you know I work for the company, and this is our life. We've grown up here and we have a little girl, and her little girl is probably about 9 years old. She's in private school, and she also takes care of her elderly parents." So I asked, "What do you think is happening?" And when she explained to me, she says, "John, we work for a large Fortune 50 company that made billions of dollars during COVID, and now we're laying people off. I have to ask the question, what is going on? My leaders won't talk to me. We get misdirection in terms of the communications. We don't understand the financials. There have been bad decisions made in the company. There have been poor acquisitions. Actually, we've seen the decisions and we've told our leadership this is not a good decision based on the facts. But they don't listen. And now, John, they've become distant. We don't have a culture, and we feel that the trust has been broken. I am extremely afraid. I have nowhere to turn. When my little girl comes in and asks, "Mommy, will I be able to be in cheer this year? Will I be able to be in soccer?" Financially, I don't know, because we're afraid of making that next financial step. We looked at buying a new home. That's on hold. We looked at buying a new car. That's on hold. So I'm extremely afraid because I've lost faith in my company. I've lost faith that they have my best interest at heart. And when I heard that call and I listened, all I could do is try to be encouraging, try to say, think about things in a positive sense. What about making some alternative plans? Because you do need to have additional plans. But I was more taken back by the fact of the leadership and the leadership trust that had been broken. When she mentioned that my own boss, my direct boss, will not allow me to engage in any of the things that I used to do for culture, that is a huge concern to me. So I was very disturbed after that call. But then about 2 weeks ago, I received another call. And this was from another young lady who in her period of time had just heard that her brother was laid off from another company. And I said, "Tell me what happened." And she was crying and she was in tears. And when she was in tears, she says, "John, I don't know why. He is a 30-year employee, outstanding. But let me tell you how it was done. He got an email at 6 a.m. in the morning that said, you need to be at a meeting at 7 a.m. Now, his usual start time is about 8:30 a.m. He looks at the email and calls and says, I can't make it until approximately 8 o'clock. Well, she talked about how callous the HR agent and his boss were. Well, you need to get here as soon as you can. They bring him into the office and fire him. And then said, now you can go home. Her tears and her anguish were so deep and so unrelenting that her brother was let go in such a callous manner after he had been a star employee for 30 years. If that isn't enough, that man broke down in tears and shared with his little sister that his life was now on hold. Let that soak in just for a moment. But now on the flip side, 2 weeks ago, another young man that I coached called me and said, listen, I worked in a toxic environment. It was crazy. My boss didn't like me. Things didn't go well. No one engaged with me. I've left and I've gone to a new company. And let me describe some of the characteristics of my new company. My new company, my manager talks to me. My vice president walks around to see how things are going. They are committed. They're realistic time frames. It's not a helter-skelter. I feel wanted. I feel needed. I feel engaged. I am much happier. My mental health, my physical health had improved. Actually, said John, my numbers at the old position, my cholesterol was off the charts. My blood pressure was high. And also my kidney function. I am a 42-year-old man. My kidney function was starting to fail. But I've gone to the doctor and those things have improved. And I can attest to the fact that it's solely based on the stresses that have been relieved from that previous toxic job. So, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, why do we have to have outstanding leadership? Why is it essential? When you think about the lives of people, which is serious, it is deadly serious. I know you talk about the stakeholders and the stockholders and the stock market and all those things, but the lives of people are extremely important. Those are the people that make the wheels of your engine go around. Whether you're a Fortune 50 or whether you're a mom and pop or whether you're fast food, those individuals are the key to your business, and you have to recognize that importance. When I look at why outstanding leadership and why I'm on a crusade to explain whatever organization you have, if you don't value those people, if you don't invest in that environment, if you don't make them feel needed, that will prove to be the demise of your company. It may not be tomorrow, but it could be 5 years down the road. And so when you think about how important people are, what are the impacts on people's lives? When you look at people's lives, and this is something I've done mathematically just to show the ramifications. In my organization, 250, 300 people, give or take. And you say, wow, who are you concerned for? You've got 250 or 300 people. You can't worry about all of those people because guess what? It's just too many. You need to manage and do what you can do. But let me give an example. I said it's way more than 250 people. It's way more than 300 people. Mathematically, the lives that I impact could be somewhere in the neighborhood to 15 to 18,000 people. And you say, how in the world mathematically do you come up with that crazy algorithm? Well, when you look at for every person who's in that organization, everyone has a family. That family has a family. They're in a community. They belong to a church, a mosque, a synagogue. That family has soccer coaches. That family has Sunday school teachers. Their commitments in the community. And the check that those people bring home actually is the vibrancy of that community. If you can imagine an organization, take any city that has 40 to 50,000 employees in that city. That's a big company, right? Can you imagine how much income and what the dollar does in just that community financially? But what most people don't look at, it's not just the financial pieces. It's the community pieces. It's the outreach pieces. It's the support. It's all of those things that make up that community. So when I make a decision and when I coach CEOs and whomever and people in leadership, when you think about your decisions, it's not just about the person in your workspace or in the cubes. It is those people, their families, their grandparents, the people they support, their extended families, the folks that they support in the community service. All of those things have a solid impact on who you are and the decisions that are made. So therefore, I say this: bad leadership can ruin a life and ruin a company. It may not come all at once, but in small paper cuts, you erode the foundation of that company. You erode the basis for which you are in business. And that's huge because you know why? It's important because it's the decisions you make. So I encourage you, I implore you, if you are in business, if you are a leader, if you are a formal leader, or if you are an informal leader, you may be a soccer coach. Think about the lives you are impacting. The words you say cut deep, or the words you say inspire. And when you look at how you inspire, let me ask you a question. Anybody remember their worst teacher? Anybody remember their best teacher? You may be 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. That bad teacher, which may have given you valuable lessons, but that resonates with you to this day. You have not forgotten it. And if you had a good teacher, that also resonates with you. But unfortunately, some of the bad things that happen linger and cause greater depression and mental illness way down the line about how you treated people. So the decisions you make, and listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just about if you're in government. It's not just about if you're in the corporate world, the private world, even in war, in the military. I use a lot of military examples, and people says, wow, why are you so intense on military? That's life and death. I says, those are the emotions that come out all the time. And somehow you need to understand in life and death situations, it's the same in the corporate world. You may do something that urges a person to either be committed to the team or actually default from the team. And if that becomes the case, you lose the war, you lose the mission, you don't achieve the goals. It's really, really important. And that's why I believe that the same way bad leadership can ruin a company, bad leadership can ruin a person's life, it also, on the flip side, outstanding leadership can inspire a person. It can inspire them to the greatest of heights. Outstanding leadership can create a powerhouse in terms of companies, small businesses in our country. It's very important. And I think those are the things that we have to do. So when it all boils down, I believe we have to remember that leadership is a privilege and an honor. It is a privilege. You have to build a thriving environment. And that thriving environment should be where you bring people together, all kinds of people from all walks of life, to achieve a lofty goal that allows you to grow your company, to grow your business. And if you bring those people together and inspire them, create innovation, creativity, it becomes kinetic. It becomes an electric environment where you start to grow and to boom. And you can also leverage diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I know today that's been mischaracterized and used in all kinds of different ways. Well, let me tell you what the truth is. It's really about bringing all people together, working together, arm in arm, trying to have the greatest good in this world. I'll tell you about some stories I've had and sessions I've had with veterans of the Vietnam War, and also reading memoirs of those individuals from World War I and World War II. You know, during those times, here's some things that you have to realize. In a lot of cases, those people didn't want to work or didn't want to go into battle with certain kind of people. In Vietnam, they didn't like the young 19, 18, 19-year-old soldiers. They didn't like the soldiers of different, in World War II, they didn't like the soldiers of different nationality. A lot of those were Hispanic or of Asian descent. They didn't want to be in the groups with them as, oh, we don't want those people in here. But guys, when I read those memoirs and I come back and talk to those gentlemen from Vietnam, they said, those were the best fighters in the world. Those guys saved us at Okinawa. Those guys saved us at Iwo Jima. of those guys saved us in Tet in Vietnam or the city of Hue. Those young 19-year-old kids that we thought were crazy and couldn't do anything, they were the backbone. And so we believe, go out and reach and bring people together. Don't exclude people because of what you think or any preconceived notions. And the same guys, think about the sports world. Think about the sports world. People go after the best and they don't care where they come from. Croatia, Lithuania, Brazil, Asia, they don't care. Let's get the best people to come together and go win. Why can't we have that attitude in our world of business? That's extremely important. And when you think about empathy, empathy's gotten a bad rap too. People think empathy is giving people a pass. Oh, those people are, give them a pass. It's not hard enough. And you don't have time. You're a leader. You need to focus on just specifically getting the O's done, getting the T's crossed, getting all of those things. Well, let me explain something to you. If you have empathy, if you show individuals empathy, and I always tell my leaders this, you didn't come here to be a manager. I don't care what your title is. You came to be a leader. So what that means is you engage with those individuals. You build trust. You create a bond. You create an environment where they feel they are safe. You create an environment where they will walk through the fire for you. And when you create that, your team is stronger. That engagement is stronger. And that is so important. So then it won't matter about, yes, the stock market is important. Yes, stakeholders are important. I understand that. But the central core element of making this business thrive are those individuals that come to work every day to do their job and to get things done. But you have to remember that. So when you think about all of that, the backdrop of our world today, this global competitiveness, let me break it down really quickly for you. There's China, there's India, there's Russia, there's the US. Everyone is jockeying to be the best in the world. Everyone is jockeying to be the best. And it would behoove every country, every city, every company. Everybody's trying to get the best technology. They're trying to get the best workers. They're trying to get the best educations. They're trying to get the best of the best because they realize that the future is predicated on who gets there first and who has the best setup and who has the most in the positioning power of the world. When you look at what's happening in the Asian area, when you look at what's happening in Europe, when you look at what's happening in the Middle East, when you look at all those areas, the South China Seas, then you look at the US and the race to the moon, who's on the backside of the moon, who's going where, who's got the rockets, who's got the technology, who's got the fastest ship, who's got the most automated car, who's got the most engineers, who's got the most scientists. And you say, what is this all about? It is about global competition. And that's what's up. So then you say, well, gosh, that's enough to make your head swim. If all of these things are going on, I will tell you this, the world is a rapidly changing world and it's changing so fast. But let me start with COVID-19. I'll start with COVID-19. COVID-19 radically changed everything that we do. The way we think, the way we live, the way we work, the way we purchase. It changed everything. Even if it's back to some sense of normalcy, it isn't back. Not since 1918 and the Spanish flu have we experienced anything like that. It changed every facet, every fiber. And that's why I wrote my new book, For Whom the Virus Tolls. It talks about not only the macro impact on the world, but it talks about the specific impact right here with the human beings. So it's very, very important. You got to think about the labor force change and all those kind of things. And next, I'll tell you this, one that's near and dear to my heart, technology. AI, artificial intelligence. It is going to revolutionize everything we ever thought about in terms of the world. Beware of it. Crypto technology is going to change the way that you actually spend your money. I would urge you to look at what does crypto do. So as a leader, you got to figure out all of these things. You got to be aware, and it's very important. And then finally, with all of those dynamics going on, from AI, from empathy, all those things, you got to say, wow, do I even want to be a leader? It's too much to worry about. Yes, I need you to be leaders. I want you to be leaders because we need leaders that stand out. We need leaders that stand out from the crowd and that can take us to the next level, to the next threshold, because it's important for our country. It's important for our kids, our families, our future. And if we do that, and if we take the right perspective, I have no doubt that there are endless opportunities, there are marvelous possibilities, and that we can all play a role and be a part of it. And with that, that's why we need outstanding leadership. Thank you.